It seems Tesla is having problems. Protesters have lined up at Tesla stores and some have gone further. They started smashing stores, setting cars and charging stations on fire as part of an anti-government action. How do Musk's political decisions affect his business? Let's figure it out now. In the past month, waves of protest have swept not only across the United States but also throughout all Western countries against perhaps one of the most famous billionaires at the moment, Elon Musk. But to be precise, the main protest action is directed against one of his major assets, the company Tesla. The protest is manifesting in a new flash mob, which the participants of the strikes themselves call Topple Tesla. Initially, these were ordinary demonstrations with banners, but throughout March, the situation significantly worsened. For example, in New York, protesters broke into the flagship Tesla showroom. In Massachusetts, they set fire to charging stations. In Oregon, opponents of Musk shot at a Tesla service center. And in Colorado, a 40-year-old woman threw a Molotov cocktail at a parked Cybertruck. But the protesters are causing damage not only to Musk's showrooms, but also to private property. At a certain point, the movement's participants also turned their attention to regular Teslas owned by ordinary people. Drivers increasingly began to report acts of vandalism against their cars. This can include shouting at their cars, throwing eggs and other food waste, as well as graffiti being painted on them. A website has appeared online, which has a large database of Tesla car owners. The cursor on it looks like a Molotov cocktail. The creators of the site claim that the data about the cars and their owners will only be removed when they prove that they have gotten rid of their Tesla. Naturally, car owners have started looking for ways to protect or disguise themselves from the increasingly widespread campaign. Some people started buying various bumper stickers for their cars. "I'm against Musk," or "I bought it before Musk went crazy." But it turned out that there were even more creative car enthusiasts. Drivers began disguising their Teslas as other car brands, Mazdas, Hondas, or Audis. Owners of Cybertrucks were left out in the cold. It's unlikely they could be passed off as something else. Although, of course, there were those who simply slapped on a Toyota sticker. But often with private property, it didn't go beyond vandalism or minor road incidents. Speaking of them, you got into an accident in America and don't know what to do next, where to seek help, where to find a competent lawyer, how to get compensation if you don't have insurance. The company DTP America has helped obtain $21 million in compensation for its clients. Here, they will definitely answer all your questions. Link in the description. But where did it all begin? Of course, with the personality of Elon Musk. Just about 15 years ago, he was the classic face of all American businessmen, not particularly involved in politics, and over nearly 20 years, he donated just over $1 million to election campaigns. Although at first glance the amount seems large, for the American political machine the contribution is not that significant. And considering that at that time Musk considered himself a centrist with liberal views on social issues and conservative views on economic matters, he donated equally to both Republicans and Democrats. Elon Musk also approached election issues quite simply and openly. During both of Obama's terms, Musk voted for him, and in the following election, strangely enough now, he voted for Clinton. At that time, he expressed that Trump was not the right person needed. According to him, it doesn't seem like Donald Trump is the person who fits the United States well. After Trump's victory in the 2016 election, Musk participated in 2 councils advising the president. His decision was based on the belief that the more voices of reason the president hears, the better. However, Musk spent little time in his position, as he soon resigned in protest against Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Agreement on climate change. Interestingly, in 2020, Elon Musk did not participate in the voting, as he believed that voting was a waste of time since California is an undeniably democratic state. So how did Musk, originally a centrist, shift towards the Republicans? One of the reasons can be considered Elon Musk's attitude towards transgender people, which is, to put it mildly, ambiguous. For example, in July 2020, he tweeted that pronouns suck. Although this tweet caused an incredible uproar in the news and Musk was immediately accused of being dismissive towards minorities, the billionaire himself stated that he fully supports transgender people. However, many publications still began to associate him with the ranks of far-right activists. But likely family changes influenced Musk the most. In June of 2022, his son underwent a transgender transition, changing his name to Vivian and renouncing his father's surname. Most likely, this had a significant impact on Elon Musk. For instance, in the biography of the billionaire by journalist Walter Isaacson, it is claimed that his right-wing political views were partially triggered by his child's transgender transition. The pandemic also played a significant role in the shift of Musk's political orientation. In 2020, the US authorities imposed a widespread lockdown, which led to the closure of Tesla factories, something that Musk himself strongly disliked. At that time, he openly criticized the authorities and demanded the return of people's freedom. And it was at this moment that Musk's views aligned with those of the Republicans. After all, they also believed that the laws enacted during the pandemic were infringements on the rights and freedoms of Americans. But perhaps the most significant stumbling block for Musk is freedom of speech. He considers himself a free speech absolutist and also claims that it is a public imperative for a functioning democracy. This is precisely related to his purchase of Twitter and the subsequent renaming of the social network to X. Musk conducted massive layoffs in the company and changed X's policy regarding freedom of speech. The main event associated with the changes in Twitter can be considered the unblocking of Donald Trump's account. Musk himself called the ban on Trump's account morally wrong, and after purchasing Twitter, he conducted a poll in which more than half of the voting users expressed support for lifting Trump's ban. However, the changes in Twitter also had unpleasant consequences. For instance, fake news began to be promoted more frequently on the social network, leading to a mass exodus of advertisers. That is why many sources claim that the purchase of the social network did not bring Musk significant profit, but at the same time, thanks to acquiring the platform, Elon Musk began to align more closely with Republicans and directly with Trump in his statements. For example, in the spring of 2022, Musk stated that he could no longer support the Democrats, adding that they are a party of hate and division and urged people to vote for Republican candidates. But the most interesting thing is that Elon Musk did not immediately start supporting Trump in the presidential race. In November 2022, he tweeted that he would support Ron DeSantis in the U.S. presidential election if he decided to run. At that time, Musk stated that it would be the first time he would vote for a Republican Party representative. He also made his first major donation of $50 million. But already at the beginning of 2024, Musk decided to support Trump. He officially announced his support after the assassination attempt on Trump in Pennsylvania. From that moment, Elon Musk began actively sponsoring Trump's election campaign and spent more than $275 million on it, becoming Donald Trump's largest sponsor. Back in August of the same year, Trump stated that he would certainly consider offering Elon Musk a position in the White House cabinet or propose a role as an advisor to him. The billionaire responded with the words, "I am ready to serve," and with an AI-generated image of him standing behind a podium labeled Ministry of Government Efficiency, the abbreviation of which refers to a popular meme with a dog. After winning the election, Trump announced that Musk would head the Commission on Improving Government Efficiency. The main task of the commission is to save the budget about $2 trillion. The main tactic Musk adhered to was the rapid reduction of officials and budget expenditures. It was at this point that major unrest began, not only in the White House but across the country. The majority of the Ministry of Government Efficiency's employees are located in the White House. There, instead of the usual offices, bedrooms with beds and dressers for the department's employees have been set up. In fact, even Musk himself spends the night at the new workplace, which, by the way, harks back to the times when he would stay overnight at Tesla and SpaceX. The businessman's team consists of about 50 people, many of whom previously worked with Musk on his other projects. The department under Elon Musk's leadership decided to act boldly and decisively. Almost immediately, they took control over the management of the White House's personnel policy and the civil servants database. Additionally, DOGE began monitoring the financial flows of other ministries, blocking those that could be considered wasteful or fraudulent. In addition, they also gained access to government databases containing confidential information, such as the tax service. It was with such a headline that letters were sent to all civil servants in the first days of the Trump administration. The essence of this phrase is reflected in offering two paths for government employees: either resign voluntarily and receive compensation, or continue working with the awareness of possible dismissal. Moreover, the White House anticipated that between 5 to 10% of civil servants would take up the offer, but only 4 actually resigned. After this, Musk's department immediately began to take action. They decided to almost completely cut the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. The fact is that the agency's work is focused on providing financial and material support worldwide, which in turn implies spending the budget and taxes of ordinary Americans, something they naturally dislike, particularly Musk and Donald Trump. As a result of the mass layoffs, about 11,000 USAID employees were dismissed, and Musk referred to the agency as a criminal organization. But the case with USAID was just the beginning. After that, Musk's team also targeted other government employees. Initially, about 20,000 federal employees were laid off, workers from the tax services, the Department of Health and Education. Moreover, the layoffs were conducted indiscriminately, with some receiving official notice of termination while others were not even informed. In pro-democratic media, the mass layoffs sparked a huge wave of negativity. For instance, after the press coverage of the layoffs of employees from the Nuclear Weapons Maintenance Agency, all the dismissed employees were reinstated. Musk's approach of doing everything quickly and efficiently while correcting mistakes along the way drew criticism of the businessman and his entire department from public opinion. Currently, the official website of Musk's ministry states that over $100 billion have been saved during his tenure with a goal of $2 trillion. The main wave of criticism towards the billionaire's actions, of course, comes from representatives of the Democratic Party. He is accused of having unlimited powers and violating a large number of laws, as well as the lack of any method of government control over the businessman's department. Democrats also accuse Musk of receiving excessive state sponsorship for his companies Tesla and SpaceX. For instance, they cite the State Department's purchase of armored Tesla vehicles for $400 million. After the potential deal was published in the press, the project was quickly shut down. However, Musk's department's work has drawn negative reactions not only from Democrats but also from some members of the Republican Party. Some senators and congressmen are concerned about their electoral votes in the upcoming 2026 elections due to the large-scale layoffs caused by Musk's operations. Controversial decisions regarding the reduction of veterans, who by law have certain privileges when working in public service, have also been criticized. The movement itself was created in early 2025 at the initiative of American actor Alex Winter and Boston University journalism professor Art Joan Donovan. The reason for the participants in the movement is simple. In their opinion, the American people did not elect Musk to his position. Many believe that the businessman simply bought his place in the White House by sponsoring Donald Trump's election campaign. The majority of people committed to overthrowing Tesla are outraged by Musk's actions and his Ministry of Government Efficiency. Almost all opponents of the billionaire are alarmed by the uncontrolled mass layoffs and dismissals, which they say could directly affect their lives and the future of their country. They are mainly concerned about cuts in the healthcare and education sectors. Some members of the movement believe that Musk's actions and his very persona are more dangerous to American society than the same actions by Donald Trump. In their opinion, unlike the president, Musk's department and the businessman himself are not controlled by either the state or the people, which also fuels the fears of Democratic Party supporters. Therefore, the decision of the movement's participants was a direct hit on one of Musk's main assets, his business. On the activists' official website, there is a call to sell cars and join rallies to preserve democracy and freedom, as well as to overthrow Musk. Such an overt struggle has already affected Tesla's stock. Since the beginning of the year, the stock price has fallen by more than 40%. As a result, Musk's fortune has decreased by $100 billion and the market value of his car brand by $700 billion. The businessman himself called the acts of vandalism against his company terrorist acts, and President Trump stated that the demonstrators attacking Tesla showrooms are harming a great American company and the movement's participants will go to hell. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that the president's administration intends to impose the strictest possible measures against those involved in vandalism against Tesla cars and dealerships. All criminal cases against the vandals are being specifically transferred from state jurisdiction to federal jurisdiction. The fact is that in many states, Democrats are in power who are lenient towards left-wing activists. Federal courts, however, are more closely tied to the government, which is not inclined to spare the enemies of the main sponsor of the US president. Trump himself noted that he is waiting for, in his words, the sick terrorist thugs to receive 20 years in prison for what they are doing to Elon Musk and Tesla. Also, at the beginning of March, the president held something like a company presentation by buying himself a new Cybertruck from Musk's company. However, this shocking decline does not actually mean that Musk is facing bankruptcy. The fact is that the sharp rise in the company's stock occurred in December of last year when Trump had already won the election and it became known that the billionaire would be one of his key advisors. Currently, the company's shares have reverted to pre-election values, so essentially Elon Musk hasn't lost anything, and his main asset, Tesla, still holds the status of the most valuable company in the global automotive market. Its market capitalization is nearly $900 billion.